My beloved child, I know how heavy it feels when days pass and nothing seems to move, when prayers rise from your heart again and again, yet circumstances remain the same, when effort does not bring visible fruit and waiting stretches longer than you ever expected. And I want you to listen to me gently now, because even when nothing seems to change, I am near. I see the quiet disappointment you carry, the questions you ask when you are alone, the moments when hope feels tired rather than strong, and I understand how discouraging it is to stay faithful in a season that offers no clear progress. You may wonder whether you are doing something wrong, whether you misunderstood me, whether your prayers are unheard, or whether this stillness means you have been forgotten. Yet hear me clearly now, because stillness is not absence and silence is not abandonment. I am present in this waiting, closer than you realize, working in ways you cannot yet see, and holding you steady while you grow in places that do not announce themselves outwardly. I know how deeply you long for change, not dramatic transformation, but some sign that things are moving, some reassurance that your patience has purpose. And I know how easy it is to measure my work by what you can see. Yet, my child, much of what I do happens beneath the surface, where roots grow before fruit appears, where strength is formed quietly, and where trust is deepened without spectacle. You may feel as though you are standing still while the world moves forward, watching others experience breakthroughs while your own life feels paused. And I understand how comparison makes waiting heavier. Yet I want you to remember that growth is not always visible and progress is not always loud. Just because nothing looks different does not mean nothing is happening, because I am shaping you in ways that will sustain what comes next. I see how waiting has tested your faith, how it has forced you to confront impatience, doubt, and weariness, and I know how tempting it is to grow discouraged when answers do not arrive on your timeline. My child, waiting is not wasted time, even though it feels unproductive, because waiting teaches you how to trust me without relying on results. It is easy to believe when prayers are answered quickly, but it takes courage to remain open when nothing seems to change, and that courage matters deeply to me. I am not ignoring your prayers, and I am not delaying out of indifference, because timing shaped by love always serves a greater purpose than timing driven by urgency. I know you sometimes feel invisible in this season, as though your faithfulness goes unnoticed, as though your endurance is unseen, and I want you to hear me now, because I see every moment you choose to keep going, every time you pray despite discouragement, every time you remain gentle even when frustration rises, and none of it is forgotten. My child, faithfulness in stillness is just as meaningful as obedience in movement, and often more refining. You are being shaped into someone who can carry what comes next without losing peace, and that shaping often happens in seasons that feel quiet, slow, and unnoticed. Do not despise this time, even though it feels heavy, because it is preparing you more than you realize. I see how waiting has tested your worth, as though progress is proof of value and stagnation means failure. And I want you to hear me clearly now, because your worth is not measured by visible change. My child, you are loved in motion and in stillness, in growth and in waiting, and nothing about this season diminishes who you are to me. You are not behind, and you are not forgotten, because my timing is not a reflection of your value, it is an expression of my care. Sometimes what you desire is coming, but the timing protects you, strengthens you, and prepares you to receive it without harm. I know you sometimes feel tempted to give up, to lower your expectations, or to stop hoping altogether because waiting hurts too much, and I understand that instinct. Yet I want you to hear me gently now, because hope does not need to be loud to be alive. Even quiet hope matters, even fragile trust counts, and even tired faith is still faith. My child, you do not need to feel strong to remain with me. You only need to stay. And staying is enough. I am not asking you to pretend waiting is easy. I'm asking you not to walk through it alone, because I am near, even when nothing seems to change. So remain here with me, in this place of uncertainty, without forcing answers or rushing outcomes, because my presence is not dependent on progress. You are not alone in this season, and you are not unseen, because I am walking with you through every unchanged day, every repeated prayer, and every quiet moment of endurance. Trust that this stillness has purpose, that this waiting is shaping you, and that even now I am near, closer than you think, holding you steady while I prepare what comes next.
My beloved child, I know how waiting stretches your faith in ways nothing else does, how it asks you to keep trusting without evidence, to keep believing without reassurance, and to keep showing up when answers feel distant. And I want you to listen to me gently now, because this testing is not meant to break you, it is meant to deepen you. I see how waiting has exposed fears you did not know were there, fears of being overlooked, fears of missing out, fears that time is passing you by. And I understand how unsettling that feels, because uncertainty makes everything feel fragile. Yet I am speaking to you now to remind you that faith is not fragile in my hands, and waiting does not weaken it when you stay close to me. You are not being asked to produce certainty, only to remain present, because presence keeps your heart open even when answers are delayed. I know you sometimes replay your prayers, wondering if you asked wrongly, if you should have done more, if your faith was insufficient. And I want you to hear me clearly now, because my response to you is not based on how perfectly you pray. My child, prayer is not a formula that guarantees immediate outcomes. It is a relationship that sustains you while outcomes are forming. You are not unheard and you are not dismissed, because I receive every prayer you bring, even the ones that sound uncertain, tired, or repetitive. When nothing seems to change, it does not mean prayer has failed. It means prayer is holding you steady while I work beyond what you can see. I see how waiting makes you feel vulnerable, as though life is on pause while others move ahead. And I understand how comparison quietly steals your peace in this season. My child, do not measure your journey against another's progress, because your path is uniquely shaped for who you are becoming. I am not late in your life, and I am not ahead of you either. I am with you, walking at a pace that serves you, even when that pace feels slow. Waiting is not proof that you are falling behind. It is often proof that I am protecting you from arriving unprepared. You do not see the whole picture yet, but I do, and I am guiding you with care. I know how waiting tempts you to take control, to force movement, to open doors that are not ready, and I understand that urge because stillness feels powerless. Yet hear me now, because forcing progress often costs more than waiting, and movement without guidance can lead you away from the peace you seek. My child, staying with me in the waiting requires courage, because it means trusting my wisdom over your urgency. You are not passive here. You are actively choosing trust, restraint, and faithfulness, and those choices shape you more deeply than rapid change ever could. I see how waiting has refined your character, even though it feels uncomfortable, how it has taught you patience, humility, and attentiveness. And I know how little recognition these qualities receive, yet they matter greatly. My child, I am shaping you into someone who can hold blessing without losing balance, success without losing compassion, and progress without losing peace. And that shaping takes time. What you experience now as delay is often preparation, and preparation protects you from harm you cannot yet imagine. Trust that I am not wasting your time, because I value your life too much to do that. I know you sometimes fear that staying in this season will drain you, that waiting will wear you down until hope disappears. And I want you to hear me gently now, because you do not wait alone. My child, I am near in this season, offering my presence as nourishment for your faith. When strength feels low, come to me. When doubt rises, speak to me. When frustration grows, sit with me, because staying connected is what sustains you. You are not expected to endure waiting in silence or isolation. You are invited to walk through it with me, moment by moment, breath by breath. I see how waiting has made you more sensitive to silence, more aware of your inner world, and I understand how that awareness can feel uncomfortable. Yet I want you to know that silence is not empty. My child, silence creates space for my voice, not always in words, but in peace, clarity, and gentle direction that unfolds over time. Do not rush to fill the silence with noise or distraction, because quiet is where trust grows roots. You may not hear immediate answers, but you will feel steadiness return as you remain open. I know you wonder how long this season will last, and I understand that question because not knowing the length makes waiting heavier. Yet hear me clearly now, because timing is not something I reveal all at once. It is something you experience as you walk. My child, you do not need to know when this will change to trust that it will, and you do not need a timeline to remain faithful. Stay with me today, not because today is easy, but because today is where grace is given. Tomorrow will come with its own provision, and you will not face it without support. I see how you sometimes question your calling during this waiting, wondering if you misunderstood, if you aimed too high, if you should adjust your expectations. And I want you to hear me now, because waiting does not erase calling, it clarifies it. My child, what is meant for you is not fragile, and it will not be lost because you waited. I am not testing you to see if you are worthy. I am walking with you to shape you into someone who can receive what is coming with humility and wisdom. Stay with me, even when waiting feels long, because I am near, and nearness changes everything. So remain here without rushing yourself or doubting my care, because faith grown in waiting is strong, steady, and enduring. You are not forgotten in this season, and you are not unseen, because I am walking with you through every unchanged moment. Trust that staying with me now is shaping a future that will arrive at the right time, and until then, my presence will sustain you.
My beloved child, I know the kind of tiredness that settles deeper than the body, the weariness that comes from hoping for a long time without seeing change, from believing without evidence, from staying faithful when the outcome remains unclear. And I want you to listen to me gently now, because tired hope is not broken hope, it is hope that has been stretched. I see how your expectations have softened, how your prayers have become quieter, how you guard your heart now to protect it from disappointment. And I understand why you do this, because disappointment hurts more when you have believed deeply. Yet I am speaking to you now to remind you that even guarded hope still matters to me, and even faith that feels fragile is still faith. You do not need to feel strong to remain connected to me. You only need to stay open, because openness allows me to renew what feels worn down. I know how waiting has slowly drained your enthusiasm, how joy feels muted, how anticipation has been replaced with endurance, and I understand how discouraging that shift can be. My child, do not judge yourself for feeling this way, because weariness does not mean you have failed. It means you have been faithful longer than you expected to be. You have carried trust through uncertainty, patience through silence, and obedience through delay, and that is not small. I see the effort you make to keep believing even when belief feels heavy, and I honor that effort deeply. Hope does not need to be loud to be alive, and it does not need to feel easy to be real. I know you sometimes fear that your hope is fading, that if nothing changes soon, it will disappear entirely, and I want you to hear me clearly now, because hope does not depend on your emotional energy, it depends on my faithfulness. My child, even when your hope feels tired, I remain steady, and I am able to carry what you cannot sustain on your own. You are not required to keep hope alive through force or positivity. You are invited to let me renew it gently, patiently, in ways that feel safe. Renewal does not always look like excitement returning suddenly. It often looks like quiet resilience, the ability to keep going without collapsing, and that resilience is a gift. I see how disappointment has taught you to lower expectations, to prepare for less, to brace yourself against hope in order to avoid pain, and I understand why that feels protective. Yet hear me now, because guarding your heart does not mean closing it completely. My child, you can remain cautious and still be open, gentle and still trusting, realistic and still hopeful. Because hope does not require naivety, it requires trust in me rather than certainty in outcomes. I am not asking you to imagine a perfect future. I am asking you to remain present with me in this moment, because presence is where renewal begins. I know how hope feels risky now, how believing again feels vulnerable, and I respect that vulnerability because it shows how deeply you care. My child, I am not pushing you to feel hopeful before you are ready. I am inviting you to rest with me until hope is renewed naturally. When you stop striving to feel different, something within you begins to soften, and that softness creates space for healing. You do not need to pressure yourself into optimism, and you do not need to pretend you are fine, because honesty with me is always the safest place to be. Bring me your tired hope, your disappointment, your questions, and let me hold them with you. I see how waiting has changed the way you pray, how words sometimes feel repetitive or empty, how silence has replaced certainty, and I understand how unsettling that feels. Yet, my child, prayer does not lose its power when words run out, because presence speaks louder than phrases. Sitting with me in silence, remaining open even when you do not know what to say, is still prayer, and it matters deeply. I am not measuring your faith by how inspired you feel, but by your willingness to remain with me even when inspiration fades. That willingness is strong, even when it feels quiet. I know you sometimes feel embarrassed by your weariness, as though you should be more grateful, more patient, more trusting by now. And I want you to release that self-judgment now, because it does not come from me. My child, weariness is not sin, and fatigue is not failure. They are signals that you need renewal, not correction. I am gentle with your limits, and I do not expect you to carry hope indefinitely without support. Come to me with your tired heart, and let me refresh you in ways that do not demand effort or performance. I see how hope has shifted from expectation to endurance, and while endurance feels less joyful, it is still valuable, because endurance keeps you moving when joy feels distant. My child, endurance is not the opposite of hope. It is hope that has learned to walk slowly. As you remain here, you may notice small changes, moments of peace, brief reassurance, subtle clarity, and these are signs that renewal is happening quietly. Do not dismiss these moments because they are small, because small things sustained over time create lasting change. I know you wonder whether joy will return, whether anticipation will feel light again, whether waiting will eventually make sense, and I want you to hear me clearly now, because renewal often comes gradually, not dramatically. My child, you will not always feel this tired, and you will not always carry this heaviness, because seasons change even when they feel endless. Stay with me here, not because you feel strong, but because you trust that I am faithful, and that trust will carry you through this season and into the next. So remain here with me, without forcing hope, without demanding answers, and without rushing yourself to feel different. Let me renew you gently, patiently, and in my timing, because renewal that is rushed does not last, but renewal that is received transforms you deeply. Even now, even here, even when nothing seems to change, I am near, and my nearness is enough to sustain you until hope rises again.
My beloved child, I know how waiting has led you to question not only your circumstances, but yourself. How silence has caused you to replay decisions, revisit conversations, and wonder whether you misunderstood me or misread the path you were meant to walk. And I want you to listen to me gently now, because questioning does not mean you lack faith. It means you are seeking understanding in the midst of uncertainty. I see how stillness has given space for doubt to speak, how unanswered prayers have made you scrutinize your motives, your worth, and your discernment. And I understand how unsettling that feels, because when outcomes are delayed, it is easy to turn inward and assume fault. Yet I am speaking to you now to shift your focus, because in seasons when nothing seems to change, remembering who I am matters more than analyzing who you are. You are not sustained by perfect clarity about yourself. You are sustained by trust in my character. I know you sometimes wonder whether you are doing enough, whether you should try harder, change direction, or become someone else entirely in order to see movement. And I understand why effort feels tempting when waiting feels powerless. Yet hear me clearly now, because striving for certainty will not bring peace, and redefining yourself repeatedly will not speed up what I am preparing. My child, you do not need to reinvent your faith every time waiting grows uncomfortable, and you do not need to question your identity because timing feels slow.
I am the same yesterday, today, and always, and my faithfulness does not waver with circumstances, and remembering this steadies your heart when your thoughts feel scattered. I see how doubt tries to convince you that silence means distance, that delay means denial, and that stillness means inactivity. And I want you to hear this truth settled deeply now, because silence is often where trust matures, delay is often where preparation happens, and stillness is often where foundations are strengthened. My child, I am not absent in this season, and I am not unsure of what I am doing, because I work with intention even when my ways are quiet. You do not need constant reassurance to be secure. You need to remember that I am near, attentive, and faithful, even when you cannot see the evidence yet. I know how easy it is to doubt yourself when progress is slow, to believe that if you were stronger, wiser, or more faithful, things would look different by now, and I understand how heavy that self-questioning becomes. Yet I want you to hear me clearly now, because your value is not proven by progress, and your faith is not measured by outcomes. My child, I am not evaluating you by how quickly things change, and I am not withholding movement until you improve, because my love does not operate on performance. When you question yourself, return to me, because I am steady when your confidence wavers, and I am sure when your thoughts feel uncertain. I see how waiting has made you hyper-aware of every decision, every feeling, every perceived mistake, and I understand how that scrutiny drains you. My child, you were not meant to carry the burden of perfect understanding, and you were never asked to navigate life without uncertainty. Faith does not require flawless discernment. It requires willingness to remain with me even when clarity is incomplete. You do not need to have all the answers to move forward, and you do not need to resolve every doubt to be loved, because I walk with you in the questions, not just in the clarity. I know you sometimes look back and wonder whether you should have chosen differently, spoken sooner, waited longer, or acted faster, and I understand how heavy that self-questioning becomes. Yet hear me now, because dwelling on what might have been steals energy from what still can be. My child, I am not limited by your past choices, and I am not trapped by missed moments, because I can bring good from paths that feel uncertain. You have not ruined anything beyond repair, and you have not stepped outside my care because you questioned or hesitated. Stay with me here, in the present, because this is where guidance is given. I see how waiting has challenged your trust, not only in me, but in yourself, and I understand how fragile confidence feels when nothing confirms it. Yet I want you to remember this, because confidence grounded in circumstances will always shift, but trust grounded in me remains steady. My child, when you feel unsure of yourself, lean into who I am, because I am faithful when you feel uncertain, patient when you feel restless, and present when you feel alone. You do not need to anchor your hope in your own consistency, because I am consistent, and that is enough to hold you. I know you may feel tempted to look for signs everywhere, to analyze every small change for meaning, and I understand that desire for reassurance. Yet I want you to hear me now, because peace does not come from constant interpretation, it comes from quiet trust. My child, you do not need to decode every moment to be safe, and you do not need to understand everything to be held. I will guide you clearly when direction is needed, and until then, remaining close to me is enough. Trust that I am not hiding from you, and I am not withholding guidance out of cruelty, because my timing is shaped by care, not distance. I see how remembering who I am steadies your heart, even if only briefly, and I want you to return to that remembrance now. I am faithful, even when circumstances are quiet. I am near, even when progress is slow. I am working, even when results are unseen. My child, anchoring yourself in who I am frees you from the pressure to define everything, and it allows you to rest in the truth that you are guided, loved, and not alone in this season. You do not need to figure yourself out completely to trust me, because trust grows as you stay present, not as you achieve certainty. So when questions rise, when self-doubt whispers, and when waiting feels long, remember who I am, and let that remembrance quiet what feels unsettled. Stay with me here, without rushing answers or demanding clarity, because my presence is enough to carry you through this season. I am near, even now, and I will continue to guide you gently, faithfully, and with love.
My beloved child, I know the question that lingers quietly in your heart, the one you may be afraid to voice out loud, the question that asks whether this season of waiting will ever end, whether life will always feel this still, this uncertain, this unresolved. And I want you to listen to me gently now, because even here, even now, I am still near. I see how time feels heavier when nothing changes, how days blur together, how hope feels delayed rather than denied, and I understand how exhausting that can be. You may feel as though you are standing in the same place while life moves on around you, wondering when your turn will come. And I want you to hear me clearly, because this season is not endless, even though it feels that way, and it is not meaningless, even though its purpose is not yet visible to you. I know how waiting tempts you to believe that you are stuck, that you are being overlooked, that something must be wrong because movement has not come. Yet I want you to remember this truth now, because stillness is not stagnation in my hands. My child, I am not holding you in place to punish you or to test your endurance for my sake. I am holding you steady to protect you, to shape you, and to prepare you for what lies ahead. There are things forming within you now that could not be formed in a season of rapid change. Things like depth, discernment, patience, and trust that does not depend on immediate results. These qualities are quiet, but they are strong, and they will carry you further than quick answers ever could. I see how uncertainty has made you cautious, how it has taught you to manage expectations, to soften dreams, to guard hope so disappointment hurts less, and I understand why you have learned to do that. Yet hear me now, because guarding your heart does not mean closing it completely. My child, I am not asking you to pretend this waiting is easy, and I am not asking you to force optimism. I am asking you to remain open to me, because openness keeps you connected even when outcomes are unclear. You do not need to know how this season ends to trust that I am walking with you through it, and you do not need to see the next step to know that you are not alone. I know how long waiting reshapes your prayers, how words become fewer, how silence becomes more familiar, and how trust feels quieter than it once did. And I want you to hear me clearly now, because quiet trust is still trust. My child, you are not required to feel inspired every day to remain faithful. You are only asked to stay, and staying matters deeply. Even when prayer feels simple, even when faith feels routine, even when hope feels tired, I am near, receiving what you bring without judgment. I am not disappointed in the simplicity of your prayers, and I am not distant because enthusiasm has faded, because relationship does not depend on intensity, it depends on presence. I see how you sometimes fear that you are losing momentum, that waiting is slowly wearing you down, and I understand that fear, yet I want you to hear this truth now, because rest and waiting are not the same as giving up. My child, you have not stopped believing, you have not walked away, and you have not closed your heart. You have simply been faithful longer than you expected, and that faithfulness has weight. I am not asking you to hold yourself together through this season by sheer determination. I am asking you to lean into my nearness and allow me to sustain you, because I am not only present at the end of waiting, I am present within it. I know you wonder what you are supposed to do while nothing changes, whether you should act, wait, adjust, or simply endure, and I want you to hear me now, because you are not meant to solve the season, you are meant to walk through it with me.
My child, your calling right now is not to force movement, but to remain receptive, attentive, and honest with me. There will be a time for action, and I will make that clear. But until then, your staying is not passive, it is faithful. You are learning how to trust me without constant confirmation, and that trust will steady you when life begins to move again. I see how you sometimes feel forgotten, as though your patience goes unseen, and I want you to hear me clearly now, because nothing about this season has escaped my notice. I see every quiet choice to keep going, every moment you resist bitterness, every time you choose gentleness over frustration, and these moments are shaping you more deeply than you realize. My child, you are not waiting in isolation, you are waiting in my presence, and my presence is never empty. Even now, as you listen, I am near, steady, and faithful, holding you in a season that will not last forever. I know you long for reassurance that change will come, that movement will return, that answers will arrive, and I want you to hear me now, because I do not waste seasons, and I do not abandon my children in uncertainty. My child, there will be change, and there will be clarity, and when it comes, you will see how this season prepared you to receive it without fear, without pride, and without losing peace. You will understand then what you cannot fully understand now, and until that day, you are not expected to be certain, only to stay connected. So stay with me here, without rushing yourself, without condemning your weariness, and without demanding immediate answers, because I am still near, closer than you think, walking with you through every unchanged day. This season will not define you by its stillness, it will shape you by your faithfulness, and I will carry you until change comes. My beloved child, even when nothing seems to change, I am near, and my nearness is enough to sustain you until the next chapter begins. If this message spoke to your heart, encouraged you in waiting, or reminded you that you are not alone, subscribe to this channel and stay close, because I will continue to walk with you, speak truth over you, and remind you again and again that even in the quiet, I am near.